Hi everybody, another episode of Dave Drives. Here I am on my way. I'm driving about 2.5 hours to Sacramento, pick up a new gutter machine. So I'm sure you enjoy hearing that tidbit. What I want to talk to you about is mistakes, past mistakes. We all make them. I think I may have made a few more than most people, but past mistakes, they train you a lot. That's what you have to do. You have to allow those mistakes to train you how to proceed. I always use the video game analogy. It's where if you try and play that video game one time, you're going to run out of your lives very quickly. So eventually you learn how to duck and jump and fly at the right time, and when that happens, you can be successful and you can win the game. So I made a big set of mistakes, huge set of mistakes in the past, but I'm going to go over it very, very simply. You may want to buy a business, and when you buy a business, there's a whole lot of variables you have to understand. But I'm going to go into the basics, and that is that before you buy a business, you have to do your homework. And that homework you're going to need help with. You're going to need a couple of tutors. One is an accountant, a certified public accountant, a CPA, someone who really knows their stuff. And number two, an attorney, because you're going to need to be protected in the agreement of the purchase of that business. So why? Why do you need those two? Why can't you just wing it and take the owner's word for it? Because the overall value of that business and what that business is able to make as a profit can only be determined by an expert. It may all look good from the outside, especially if you were an employee like I was of the business and helped build up a business for 6 years. There was a lot of things I didn't know, huge mistakes. So first of all, how much is a business worth? Well, an owner always wants to get way more than it's worth, depending on their circumstances. So when the business is doing well, they're going to think, oh, it's worth a whole lot. And many people think that whatever revenue the business is making is what it's worth. And it's not. It's not even close. The only thing that counts is the bottom line. And that means net profit. And even beyond net profit, they call it earnings before taxes and depreciation and amortization. It's called EBITDA. That's what they always have different words. EBITDA. Look it up, you'll see it. Anyway, that bottom line, the rule of thumb, and it's just a rule of thumb, it's not set in stone, is that business is worth 3 to 5 times earnings, meaning the bottom line on the profit and loss. So if you have $1 million business and it's making $50,000 after everything's paid, and make sure that owner has not taken his income out of it to make that profit and loss look better. So the bottom line on a $1 million business, if it's $50,000, that means 3 times earnings is $150,000, and 5 times earnings is $250,000. Okay, that's just a rule of thumb. Now, they may have inventory, and they may have vehicles, and they may have machinery, but the reality is you are only able to give garage sale prices for those items. And why is that? Because the machinery and the vehicles and the inventory may be worthless. It may be worth very little. So some of it is extra stuff that it's going to be hard to use, and some of the machinery may be worn down quite a bit. So that's not worth a whole lot. Now, it may be strategic to another business you have to buy this business. And so the owner will want what you call blue sky. And blue sky is their made-up figure over and above what the fundamentals show that business is worth. But that's what you're fighting against. And you're going to need to drill down into the reality of that business. So anybody can give you a profit and loss that's actually not accurate. So that's where you need tax returns, and that's where you need to do the research yourself in the background of this business and look at the bookkeeping and the sales figures. And that's called due diligence, and that's where an attorney and an accountant will be able to take a hard look at that, and they will give you the true picture. So once you have that true picture, then you can negotiate for it. But here's another tidbit of information. If you buy a business from someone and they have a very close relationship with their customers, that business is going to be struggling once those customers start dealing with someone they don't know. And the reason why is because you may not be familiar on how close the relationship is with those customers, and they may not be comfortable working with a whole new person. I know I'm not. If I'm working with a business and they pass me to another rep, I start to feel uncomfortable. I'm like, hey, the other guy knew me really well, and he treated me really well. And so I was working with him, not with just anyone, right? So there has to be a transition. If the owner is willing to work for the company for a couple of years to have a transitional effect where you can introduce someone and overlap them together over a long period of time, those people will become more comfortable. I'll tell you a funny story. I owned a business where I had hired new secretaries, and this one girl was fairly new, very nice though, and she started dealing with some of my customers because she was answering the phone. And I thought it was funny when I picked up the phone with one of my customers and they asked for her instead of me. So in a roundabout way, I had unknowingly delegated and transitioned to another person. And hey, if the customer's happy with working with another person in your business and they ask for them, then don't fight it. You know, the relationship continued, the business continued. So that is my basic advice on buying a business. Be very careful, and it's worth all the money to pay those experts to go through something, and make sure you are protected too in that purchase of that business. Make sure everything is written in stone before you make any moves at all. So, thank you very much for listening. I hope that was helpful. This is David Drives. That's not my name, that's the name of the vlog. And please subscribe, please ask questions, leave your input. It's very valuable to me. Okay? All right. Take care.